all day, grinding every way. It don't stop. Yeah, I gotta hustle, gotta grind all day. It's electric on my mind always. Little resistance help you find your way. Gotta side hustle because these jobs won't pay. Whoa, hustle all day, hustle. Whoa, hustle all day, hustle. Yeah, hustle all day, hustle. Ha, hustle all day, hustle. Hey, hustle.
Okay, that's it. We're live. Okay, welcome everybody. This is the first ever episode of the Hustle All Day podcast. And we got Frank Augustine with us today. What's up, Frank?
What's going on? Very appreciate you asking me to come on.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. So I'm going solo, and we're still going to bring on local small business owners and talk about their story, the process, everything like that. So welcome to the podcast. Is this your first ever podcast?
This is, yes.
Awesome. Good. First for both of us here. Do you have any socials you want to plug?
Yeah, my two businesses we will talk about, Frank J's Boxes and Augustine's Pizza. Frank J's Boxes is very active on social media. Augustine's Pizza, I need to do a better job of being more active. But
well, that's kind of a well-oiled machine.
Yeah. Well, Twitter and Instagram, Facebook, all of that for both of those.
Okay, what's your Instagram handle on Frank's Boxes?
Frank J's Boxes.
Okay,
Yep.
what, Augustine's?
Augustine's Pizza.
There you go.
Yep.
That'll work. Okay, we'll do a quick intro. Like, where are you from? Where'd you go to school? What'd you do after college?
So I went to Shenango. I'm from Newcastle. Graduated from Shenango and went to Penn State. Graduated from Penn State in 2010. And from there, I went straight into the family pizza business. We've been in business since 1957. I took over in 2010, and me and my dad ran it together. And also, my grandma was still involved then. And my grandma, actually, I tell everybody, when I took over in 2010, she was still the bookkeeper. And
really?
She did book work with a massive, accounts receivable, a huge. It was bigger than this table.
Yeah.
And I kicked her to the side, and her computer basically replaced her.
Yeah.
And
that's impressive, though.
It was. I mean, it was. I used to tell people at college, my family business, they still don't have a computer. It was literally 2010, and so my dad was still involved, and he did. So we kind of worked together, and we both did some different roles together, and then we had a fire in 2000, about 9 years ago.
Okay, I remember that.
Yeah, and we lost everything in the building we were in.
You had a building on the east side. That was the actual pizza.
We did both out there.
Okay.
We made the frozen pizzas, and we
had a little restaurant, a pizza
yep.
place. Yeah.
A takeout pizza shop.
Yeah, that's it.
And when we had the fire, we lost everything. We had to start all over. And my dad told me, I'm not learning anything new, so I'm done. And he stayed on. He still does some salesman work and some stuff outside of the plant. So I still run that.
Where'd you guys rebuild at, Shenango?
Shenango Industrial Park. We actually bought a building that was Pizza Jose's building. They had two buildings, actually. And they were 4 buildings apart from each other. And they kind of approached us and were like, hey, you want to come? Do you need to rent some space until you're back up? Do you want to check it out? So we went and looked at it. We were kind of like, hey, we're just going to look to find something permanent whenever we're ready to be permanent again. And then 2 weeks later, he called my dad back and he was like, hey, would you guys be interested in buying it? And I tell the story where it was we looked at it and, me and my dad toured it. We checked, we toured the whole thing, talked to Joe Seminara, and, we left. He said, oh, let me think about a price. I'll get back to you guys. We got to my car. My dad said, what do you think? And I was like, if it's a certain price, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. You guys fell in love with it?
Yeah, it was just, it had everything. We were looking at buildings where we would have ovens, freezers.
Because the old place was old school.
Right. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It was very old school. And we were kind of I don't want to say outgrowing it, but it was 2 stories. The basement was a storage area.
Okay.
And we had a dumbwaiter where we were taking stuff up and down. It was And we didn't have a room for a semi-truck, and we were kind of growing, and a semi-truck couldn't back in. So we were looking at, trying to get buildings that we felt we could grow in. And it was just, that one had the freezers, the ovens, the coolers, like everything. And he offered us a price, and we shook his hand. And I remember later, friends of ours were like, you guys didn't counter? We were like, it was a fair offer,
Yeah.
It was, we looked at my dad, looked at me, and I just kind of shook my head, and we said deal right there on the spot.
That's
it was
awesome.
it was a very fair offer, and we were, very happy with it.
So
we were happy with it.
Hate to see the old place go like that.
It was terrible. It was heartbreaking. It was like.
So how long did you guys the family own the business?
The business started in 1957.
Wow.
It was started by my grandma and grandpa and great grandma and grandpa.
Okay.
So
and
they were the four.
Always in that building?
They were actually. It started as just a pizza shop.
Okay.
And the old story goes that they had a pizza shop and they made a bunch of pizzas for a Shenango football game. And there was lightning. The game got canceled and they froze them. And they sold them the next day frozen at a convenience store. And people were like, man, this is awesome. We should do this every Sunday. So they did it from there. And then they started, that's how it grew.
It grew like that.
Yeah, that's how the story goes. But no, my like I said, my grandparents and great grandparents started it. My grandpa tragically died 6 years into it, and then my great grandparents, they passed away a few more years after that, and my grandma kept it running basically by herself for 20, 30 years. And then my dad got older, and him and his brother did it, and then his cousin, and they basically all three of them, kept it running for a long time, and then that's basically where we're at today with it.
Now. I don't know if you answered. Was it always in that old?
No, it was.
It was somewhere else to start?
The start of it was actually in. So the first one people remember was across from Cascade Park.
Okay.
And that was just a pizza shop. And then it went to Moody Avenue. And that was a full service sit down restaurant.
Okay.
With menus and all of that. And then from there it went to Lutton Street. And it was there for 35, 40 years.
Okay.
So it was really tough.
That's what's stuck.
Yeah, it was really tough to watch.
Well, that's all you knew.
It was,
yeah.
We were raised there. There's pictures of me and my sister sitting on the counters when we were kids. I remember.
Yeah, your whole life.
Going in as when I was 12, I used to go in and label the pizzas, and my dad would give me $10, and I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. It was tough because it was just it was so tragic. It was not tragic, but it was so shocking.
Right.
Out of nowhere, the building was gone, and people calling me screaming, and it was just hard. It's hard to think of now though, because it was so tough then, because it was all we knew, and we were raised there. Yeah, it really was, and the whole thing was just scary. It was what do we do now?
Yeah,
it was always there, and that was
Do you think it was a blessing in disguise?
To
push you guys to grow that little bit.
It's hard. The hardest thing is, this might be on your question, but people always ask me, are you ever going to open up a pizza shop again? That's the one thing.
Yeah, people always ask that.
Everywhere I go. I can't wear an Augustine's pizza shirt. People already know who I am to begin with. I wear an Augustine's pizza shirt. I'm like a Target. And everybody, when do you open up a pizza shop? Which is great. The support's great.
Yeah, the local wow.
That's the one thing, it was near impossible to find a building we thought we could do both of those again. That was that's what was
that's tough. Yeah.
We just could never, we just thought everywhere we looked.
Because with the room that you need.
Right.
Yeah, and then you're talking about square footage with the tables or.
Right.
Even a takeout with the ovens.
It was such a perfectly formed building over 30 years that it did exactly what we needed it to. It was just, nothing seemed that we could do that out of both. And that's the one thing that kind of, to this day, stinks. We could get another building and do it, but
it's not the same.
It's just and it's just it was so nice. It was so nice to think we were making. I mean, we make 2,400 pizzas in a day, and then in the front, they're up there making meatball sandwiches.
Pizza, yeah.
It's crazy to think now that we'd pull somebody off the pizza machine because there was 3 12 cuts that needed cheese or something. It's hard to think of. It's crazy, and it's just. I don't know if that's what kind of the stinks from it, but our new building is unbelievable, and we've been growing, and we have a few projects in the works now that we could never do out of our old building.
Okay.
Couldn't even have the conversation.
Right.
the equipment we have now and that we've, purchased since we've been in there, and it's like night and day of what we could do. And before we were so limited because of the equipment we had, and we didn't have space for the other equipment. So in that sense, it's been a blessing. There's definitely been, nice stuff with that.
Yeah, positive out of a negative.
Right, correct.
Okay, so I asked how long it's been your family. Do you have an active role now?
I do, yes. I'm still, I guess, managing. Whatever.
Is it you?
It's me, yes.
Okay.
I'm still doing.
Because you said your dad kind of like
he does
kind of like
semi-retired. Yeah, he does. He doesn't really come to the plant, but he does like sell stuff to the grocery stores. Yeah, oh yeah, he likes to go to the grocery stores because people see him there working. Yeah. And he likes to be like, you see what my son makes me do? But no, he stays busy with that, and he enjoys that. And he enjoys that kind of stuff more than I do. I'd rather kind of, work and be behind the scenes, and he likes to go out there and talk to everybody. Yes, so it's a good.
He's at the game. Yes. At the Y.
He loves that. So it's a good partnership in that sense. But I'm the one there that does all the, running there. I have unbelievable workers. Like I could never. I mean, when we talk about like my new business, like my workers are like, I have guys that have been with us for 20, 25 years.
Wow.
Like, they've been with since we were my dad, and I mean, they're like
second family.
Yeah, like they're unbelievable. Like I mean, when I say I run it, they run it, and I just do some stuff here and there. They're the best. They really are. They truly are.
So one of the biggest accomplishments for you guys had to be getting into PNC Park, because when you guys did that, everybody in Newcastle kind of took it as a win.
They did.
Nobody else had anything to do with
it.
Everyone was like, oh my God, can you believe Augustines is at PNC?
Yeah.
So to your family, how big of an accomplishment was that? Is that something you ever dreamed of? Or
they approached us years ago, and when I was still in college, and it was so we have a sauce machine that sauces and cheeses our pizzas, and it makes the 12-inch. We used to make the little ones in the stores, but we actually used to sauce those by hand. Okay. We didn't make that many of them. And it was like, okay, if we're going to make 30,000 pizzas for PNC Park, we can't sauce those by hand.
Yeah.
So we never really thought we could do it because of that. So one of my workers, Brian, he was the one that was able to basically finagle this machine that's ancient, and make it to make these 7 inches. So there's different cylinders and closing this cylinder off and stuff like that, which is above my head, but he was able to do it. So that's kind of what made us think we could do it and finally push us to it. And it was an awesome accomplishment. And it is awesome to this day. Like, the Newcastle people own it so much. And it is awesome to see how much people love
people love it.
They do. And I get pictures, almost every game I get a picture or two.
Are you guys still there?
We still are there. We were out for 3 years.
Okay. I thought so.
We were, yeah. We took a 3-year hiatus. So you have to market with them. You have to spend some money.
Okay.
When you make the pizzas.
I was told you had to do a t-shirt night.
Or something like that. Okay. Now, we did that before. We have scaled back what we've done from a marketing standpoint now.
Okay.
But you have to do something. So basically, for a couple years though, we did get outbid, but we didn't really fight.
Push it. Yeah.
We have an unreal relationship with the Pirates. We were very close with them, and we kind of have we almost had a gentleman's agreement. If you can't get anybody else, we would love to do it.
Okay.
That kind of type of thing, It's a great thing. It really is great. And it's great exposure. And what it's really helped us with is seems like business to business conversations.
Okay.
When we talk to, because parts of business we try to grow is we're trying to get in more stores or make products for another company. That really kind of opens their eyes to us, that we're not just some rom-com. So it seemed to really help those conversations. Not that it hasn't helped the customer, getting more customers as well, but the business to business, it's really done a lot for us.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So did you really see your territory grow?
Yeah, we did. We've got some more stores. We've gotten some more grocery stores. We push our fundraisers a lot through it.
Yeah.
We've gotten
you guys do a lot of fundraisers.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of that through that. We've pushed them through that, and it's been great. It really has. It's been, it's awesome. It really is.
So you guys were there for the good run.
We were,
right?
Yes. We were there for the playoffs. I think all 3 playoffs years we had our pizzas in there. Yeah, yeah, we did, because I remember the one time. I remember the game. It was I think it was the last year they were in the playoffs, and like, you know, they give us opportunities to buy more tickets. I had like 22 tickets to this like game, like, the last playoff game. I remember like they lost, and I was like, God, I can't pay for any more of these tickets.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, wasn't even. I was like laughing, like maybe I'm happy they lost. You know?
What's your best memory of that era? Did you see a lot of games in that time?
I did. You know, I was single and I didn't have any kids then, so I was going to games all the time.
Yeah. Did you work down there?
No, we just kind of deliver it frozen.
Okay.
So we deliver it frozen and they take it from there.
So they're like the Pirates refreshment
yeah,
stand.
like the Aramark stand.
Okay,
The Aramark stands. Now I would go down a lot, and I got to know like the staffs and everything real well, and they would ask me for like advice on cooking, and they were really helpful. Like they wanted it to be good for us, even more than the pizza be good for the concession stand. And it was awesome. I'm telling you, I used to go. I'd go to 2-3 nights a week, and like, you know, like it was. I made some really close friends, and I still talk to this day. Some that have moved on and went and worked, like some, whether it was at concession stands or they were like working as the marketing team for the Pirates. They've gone on to others like schools and universities. We still talk all the time. I mean, it was a lot of fun. It was, like I said, I was single with no kids. So I was going to 2-3 games a week.
Were you at the Cueto game?
I was there.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
That was awesome. It was awesome to be at them games and like eating our pizza. And my dad, to this day, every time he goes to a game, he gets a pizza.
Does he?
He does, every time. I don't get one every time, but it's cool watching
Quality
him
control.
take pride. Yeah, and a lot of times he'll send me pictures. Frank, this pizza looks bad. You better follow. So.
Okay, now we're going to pivot a little bit. We talked about your day job. Now we're going to talk about your side hustle. That's maybe not so much of a side hustle anymore.
Yeah, I don't know what defines a side hustle because it takes up a lot of my time and it's a lot of work. But yeah, I started.
So what do you do?
So I started a business, Frank J's Boxes is what it's called, and I sell basically sports card boxes. And I brought these as examples. You know, these are like factory sealed boxes that are, you know, have the packs inside of them, and that's, you know, what I sell. Like a lot of people think I do a card business, and you know, I think I deal with individual cards, which I really don't.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I actually named my company Frank J's Boxes to emphasize that I sell the boxes.
Yeah.
You know, I don't do anything with individual cards. I collect some.
Yeah.
But I don't sell any. I don't. You know, besides the little bit of collecting here or there, you know, where you sell something off you don't want, but you know. So yeah, I sell the sports cards, and you know, I do, you know, basically there's two main brands, Panini and Topps. These are two different. These are actually tomorrow's actually a huge day.
Okay.
The release.
New release.
These are two new releases, and these are probably in the top 15 releases for the year, and they happen to be on the same day tomorrow. So tomorrow is like a huge day. Yes.
Big day.
Big day tomorrow.
Sabelli Blue.
Sabelli's on vacation, supposedly.
So have you always collected, or is this something you just kind of like saw an opportunity and went for it?
So, like most kids, I collected a lot as a kid. You know?
Okay.
I guess the whole story kind of deals with the card industry. You know, the card industry was like booming in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
And that's when I was a kid. You know.
Yeah, I mean that was.
It was huge.
Yeah,
there was
we were
card
kids.
shops everywhere. I think there was two in Newcastle. I'm pretty sure at one time. I remember going to the one on the west side.
There's one
by like where Patsy's is. I remember. Or I guess that's the south side.
Yeah,
right?
south side.
Yeah, I remember going to that one, and you know, it was just huge.
Mm-hmm.
And then it completely tanked. And what they did was they were like overproducing everything.
Junk wax.
Yeah, junk wax era is what they call it. So like everybody,
nothing was worth anything.
Nothing was like it was all worthless.
Yeah, it's like
still
barely
worth anything. They claim like, you know, they said too, like I remember reading before, I don't know how true it is, but like Upper Deck executives have admitted to like just printing like thousands of Ken Griffey Jr. cards, like just him, and just going to card shows and selling them for $20. And like, yeah, and like they said because like in the 80s, I guess. Like the 60s and the Mickey Mantle started becoming popular, and everybody was like, oh, in 30 years, these are going to be worth a lot of money. But the problem is they just printed so many of them, so they became so worthless.
So supply and demand really has an effect on these cards.
Yes.
Because I got into it a little bit a couple years ago.
I remember you were doing the breaks.
Yeah.
Like the memorabilia and stuff.
And the cards, I tell you what, there's so many like nuances to the cards.
A lot.
There's a lot to learn.
It's a lot.
With the different refractors and I can't.
It's a lot. It's a lot. So as the industry kind of tanked, my interest, I lost interest, and you know, I grew up and I wasn't really ever into it. And then probably like 3 years ago, I like started reading about it and started making a little bit of a comeback. And like they started making cards rare, like you mentioned the refractors. You know, they have like purple refractors, red refractors. And I started reading like what was making these cards so valuable. And I was looking into it. And
now they have
serial numbered.
Yeah.
So they're numbered, like this card's numbered to 99 or something like that.
Yeah, like they'll have a limited, 1 of 17.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I started collecting about 3 years ago, really small, just getting into it a little bit. There's a card shop in Boardman I would stop in and talk to the owner, buy a couple packs. And it started getting like expensive. I'm like, I'm spending way too much money.
It's expensive.
Like, I got kids, I got a family, can't be buying these cards. So I was like, maybe I'll start a little business to buy some more cards. And me and my wife laugh about that all the time. Like I said, So I started this,
business.
I started a business. I signed up for a business, got an EIN number, and did all that. So they, the distributors wouldn't even give me an account to access the stuff unless I had an EIN number. So I got one. So I looked at it and I'm looking and I'm like, so I can make, these cards right here are $200 and I could sell them for $900. And I'm like, well, how do I order them? He's like, well, you can't. And I'm like, well, why? And he's like, how many you get is based upon your last 6 months sales. I'm like, okay, well, how do I buy it again? And he's like, well, you really can't. I was like, well, what am I doing?
Yeah, how do I start?
Yeah, so they kind of it's kind of crazy where he's like, you could buy some of this stuff. It's kind of old. You might lose money on it, but you could buy it and then you'll get the new stuff. So I talked to my wife and she was like, if you want to, I trust you to do what you wanted. So I remember like the first order I placed was like $2,000 and like I sold them, lost a couple $100,
Yeah.
Bought a few more, bought a few more, then like started placing bigger orders and then, my wife's like, are you out of your mind? Like, what are you doing?
We're hemorrhaging money.
Yeah, like, where's our money?
This is how business works.
Yeah. So then I remember like the first time a new product came out, they were like, oh, you get, and I made a couple $1,000. And I was like, wow.
Finally.
Yeah, I was like, so I remember asking the guy, I'm like, is there people in this world that get like 30 of these, like 20 of these? And he was like, oh yeah. So I just kept plugging away and I just kept spending money and like, the first year I did it, I lost a decent amount of money, and it was just kept going and going and going. And then
you saw the bigger picture.
And I kept seeing the numbers, and then my business started to grow, my following started to grow. My idea was, so my stuff is all done on social media. I don't have a website. I don't have, my thoughts were to keep my cost as low as possible. I don't need to pay for a website. I got free ones on all social media.
Yeah.
I don't need to accept money any other ways. You can do that Venmo, PayPal, why don't I just accept it all like that? So I started like looking into it more. And so that was kind of my business model, to just keep everything on social media, DM people and, tweets and have people like my, reply to my tweets. And it just grew and grew and grew. And it got to a point now where
people are coming.
Oh yeah,
you don't even have to reach out anymore.
Yeah, I don't reach out. People ask me like, "Hey, what do you have this for? What do you have this for?" I mean, I shipped out on Friday. We shipped out 122 packages.
Wow.
Like we ship out. I mean, we're shipping. Like I said, I'm spending money that I never in a million years thought I'd be spending on the cards. And just turning them around. What I mean? Like these ones tomorrow. Like I got like 300 of them tomorrow that will ship out tomorrow, and we'll probably sell out.
So they come in.
They come in, and I sell them as quick as I can.
Okay. Is it first come first serve, or
I have some like. Do
you do the same thing to them as they did, like as the card company did?
A little bit, not as much. I definitely have some customers that get like preferential treatment. Like I maybe text them or DM them before it hits the Twitter, and like anybody can then claim them and get them. But nothing really like they all kind of pay the same price. I try to keep my prices competitive and down because I want to move. That's kind of my theory.
Yeah, anytime you're sitting on it.
Right, I don't want to sit on anything.
So is the bulk of your business the breakers?
So that's what kind of
card shops?
I sell to all three: breakers, card shops, and individual people. But I would say that 75% of my business is breakers.
Okay. So breaks have really taken off.
That's what took off the cards.
Yeah.
That's in my mind. The cards, they did a really good job of making stuff valuable and rare. And then from there, breaks and COVID are what kind of pushed it over the top.
Okay.
Because to me, COVID had exploded. Everybody was home, stuck home. And breaks are entertainment, and it was like gambling. It really is gambling.
Yeah. It absolutely is.
Yeah, it's all it is. And, breaks like took off through COVID. And to me, that's what really like pushed. Breaks are the reason the cards are they are today.
Okay.
I mean, like this box right here, this is $5,000.
Jeez.
10 cards. 8 cards.
So they're at high value.
These are high. Every card in that is numbered to 9.
So let's explain to the people who don't know what a break is.
You're the breaker. So
I'm the breaker.
I've never done a break.
You never.
I don't do breaks.
You're smart.
So
Because it's so much work.
It is. That's why I've never done it.
So I used to do football helmets. So I'll break it down that way.
Right.
I would do spots. So every spot would get a random team. And if your random team was the Lions, the Detroit Lions, and I pull out a Barry Sanders helmet out of the box, then you would win the helmet.
Right.
Same thing with the cards. If you have the Yankees and you pull out a Derek Jeter jersey autograph, then you would get the card. So it's a cheaper way to win something that could be worth,
you get a piece of the box and get a piece of
instead of spending $5,000,
right.
Maybe you spend $100,
right?
And now you have a shot at winning a card that's worth $5,000.
Right. So like these ones, I've seen. This is football. All the cards are numbered to 99. Every card is 99 or less. So there's 8 cards, and it's guaranteed to be numbered. So what I've seen people do is sell 99 spots at like $60.
Oh, the number.
Yeah. So like 99 spots at $55, and then if you got number 3 and the card is 3 of 99, then you got the card.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's how some people try to keep the cost low.
There are so many ways to make
it's unbelievable.
Money.
I'm telling you, I'd sell to breakers in different countries.
Yeah.
Like literally the Philippines. I don't know why they love basketball cards.
Do they?
If it wasn't for the people in the Philippines, I wouldn't move on to that. I'd still be sitting on these basketball cards. They love them.
That's insane.
They break them in the Philippines. They pay out the nose to get them shipped there.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, this is going to be $220 to ship this. They're like, okay, send it. Like, it's nuts. I'm telling you, it's just all the breaks. The breakers are what really is to me is why the cards are where they are today.
Yeah.
And it's.
Well, yeah, because like we said, it gives people an option to get something higher value.
And a lot of people complain about it because some old-time collectors say, I can't afford a box anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, this box right here will be, this will be $350. This is $360. And like 2 years ago, this box was like $90.
Yeah.
And it's just, the breakers, and I will sell them out tomorrow. I'll probably sell 300 of them tomorrow. Like, that's like, it's that crazy. Like, the demand on them is that crazy.
I didn't get back into the cards.
Right.
But I dabbled for a little bit. I got back into the older cards, and I was really trying to study up, and I was like, man, this is too much for me. I can't wrap my brain around it.
It's a lot. It is. And I do collect, and I even in my own collection has grown that to like, since this all started. Like,
do you get them graded?
I do. I have a lot of graded cards. Yeah. Okay. Anything I usually keep for myself, I get graded.
When I was trying to get into it, I'm telling people, like, this is almost like a stock.
It's nuts.
You put in your safe, and then if it's worth $200 now, it's only going to go up.
Right.
If in the future.
Yeah, it seems like the high end, like rare cards, have just keep going up. There has been a little bit of a pullback since like its peak. Mm-hmm. Its peak was probably like 12, 14 months ago of the overall card market.
Yeah,
it's gone down some.
It was raging.
Oh, it was insane.
Yeah,
I mean, like even like.
They were setting new record highs, right?
I'm telling you, it was crazy. Right about last year,
like Giannis rookies.
Yeah. They were going through the roof.
Yeah.
And like it was kind of like this perfect storm for everything because you had an unbelievable.
You're sitting at home with your family,
right?
It might be like your son or whatever,
right? And then you had the football rookie class. You had Herbert and Burrow, and everybody was like going nuts over their rookie cards.
Yeah. And
then you had basketball. You had Zion and Moran, and everybody was going nuts over there. So it was like the perfect storm, like the build up, and then COVID happened, and it just like went insane. It was literally like, it was literally the perfect. Everything couldn't have aligned better for the card market to just explode. And it has gone down some sense. It's still way more than it was. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, but about last year was, I don't know if it'll ever be that high again.
Really?
It was like, I'm telling you, like cards now that are worth like $12, you could sell for like 150.
Yeah.
You know, like the high end cards are still doing pretty good, you know. But it was like some of those low end ones that were just selling for had no business for selling for that much.
When I got into breaking, I felt like I was early.
You were one of the first breakers. You didn't do the help. You didn't do the cards.
The cards. I did the helmets.
But like, if it wasn't like you're the first person I ever seen break. You and Rocco.
Really?
You and Rocco.
Yeah, I did before Rocco.
Yeah, those are the first two people I remember breaking.
Yeah, I saw it and I was like, I can do this. I can do this. I had like a following of raffles and stuff, and I started.
Oh, you were booming. You would do it like
crazy. My god! I tell you, I had Jeff Malley helping me.
I remember.
We were breaking 6 helmets a day.
I remember you were booming. I remember it.
We were moving. At one point in time, I had about 30 to 40 football helmets in my house. I was sick. I was nervous.
Yeah.
I bought security cameras. I'm like, because people know I'm doing it.
Right.
You know, and I'm looking at a wall of like, at the time, it was probably $10,000. Right. I'm thinking like, this is the most money I've ever even seen in my life, and it's right here on this wall.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I remember you doing it. You were the first person I had doing it.
It was just like catching fish in a barrel. It was like such like a firecracker.
Right.
It burned so bright, and I was like, I have to get out because I don't know if you constantly have to find a new audience and keep things interesting, and it just got to be like.
Well, even like my car business, like what is the kind of the biggest grind for me is it's their people's hobby or their side hustle or whatever, you know, like you're saying.
Yeah.
So like, I probably have 20 text messages, whether it's between Twitter, Instagram, or a text message right now.
Yeah.
Because I haven't looked at my phone since we started this 31 minutes ago.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, and I try to remind myself, like, this is their hobby. They're doing this in their downtime. So, like, you know, and when it's Christmas morning and they're texting me, what do you have in stock? And it's like, dude, I'm watching my son. His kids open presents. Like, but it's like, so that was like kind of what, like, that's kind of the hardest thing for me. It's just like, and, you know, and guys like me or you know, we don't want to, like, let a customer down or miss a sale.
Right.
So I'm like trying to be on it and like
at the same time
you're trying to like spend like you want to not only do you want to relax for yourself, you know, you want to spend time with your family.
Yeah. I got my phone on Do Not Disturb from like 9 to 6 a.m. I think. I don't get any notifications.
Oh really?
Yeah, because I can't. Because I'll be on the work never stops.
It doesn't.
I sit on the couch and I got the laptop on my knees and the phone in my hand, and I'm ordering shirts and you know trying to line up the next day. It just never stops.
Yeah, that's what I try to like from like 5 to 9 p.m. I try to like just not even look at my phone. Like,
yeah,
you know,
it's
like,
tough.
You know, like I try hard to like do to stop at my house, you know, with my family. And usually, like you said, I go to bed and I'm replying to everybody, you know, doing invoices on my computer and you know, trying to watch This Is Us while we're on my phone.
Yeah, like this.
And it's
wife's looking at you like you're watching.
Yeah, it's been that is definitely kind of the hardest thing for me is just the constant, you know. Whereas the pizza business, you know, it's you know, there's a date that's you know, frozen pizzas. Everybody's working in the day. You know, it's usually not at night. You know, you get home, and not that you don't. You know, anytime you're in a business, you're always thinking. I always say that I want to like someday in my life like go on a vacation and not think about you know. But it's just this cards. It's like literally. I remember like Thanksgiving, like being like, guys. Like, you know,
chill. You just in the nicest way possible, like chill. We always get like shirt orders late,
right?
But for us, it's like that's when people are thinking about because they're chilling out, you know. Like
it's like that's their leisure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like you got to remember. I try to tell myself that.
So I'll get to it if I don't get to it right then. I get to it, but yeah, I mean, you got to try to stay up with it because if you don't, you wake up to that many text messages, and then you start the day off like replying to 30 different people.
No, I tried. Like I said, I usually that's definitely at night when I lay in bed. I sit there, you know, or watch TV at night from like whatever time 9 o'clock on. You know, sometimes it'll be 2 hours. I'm just sitting there messaging people prices, prices. It's a lot.
All right, we're going to close it up. We're just going to ask a couple questions about you real quick.
All right.
Do you have a locked-in routine? Like, do you wake up at the same time every day?
Not really.
Does kiddo get you up early?
Nah, my kids are sleeping pretty good now. You know, I have my wake up routine isn't really. I wake up. I usually try to wake up at 6. You know, sometimes earlier, sometimes later. With the one thing about the frozen pizza business is like we have our truck drivers go out real early. I was driving truck for a while, so I was up real early then. So some days I would try to sleep in. Mm-hmm. But my routine's pretty.
I don't have a locked-in routine.
Well, my routine.
I mean, as far as
when I get to work, though, my routine's pretty locked in. Like what I do, what I check, you know, what I do first on the computer, you know. Okay. But like as of before that, not really.
Okay. Do you listen to mostly music or podcasts or books?
I listen to mostly podcasts.
About cards?
A little bit. Sometimes the last thing I want to hear about in the world is cards or sports. You know, sometimes like
you need a little break.
Know, usually in the morning I'll listen to I have like a
Do you have a go-to?
Yeah, usually in the morning I'll put on like right now I put on like MLB Network on my computer.
Okay.
Like I'll stream it or something and then like, you know, I'll just get like just the highlights from the night before. And they have a talk shit I like and you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll put on like different shows, different like I try to listen to Colin Cowherd sometimes.
Okay.
A lot of people don't like him.
Yeah, I don't mind him. Yeah. I like Pardon the Interruption. I always I'm like that's how I refresh because I miss out. I'll listen to that.
Right. So that's basically what I listen to during the day. And I think a few other podcasts, sometimes about cards and sometimes you know, fantasy football or something. And then some days, I literally can't listen to sports. Yeah. So I put on CNBC. Like, you know, I don't want to hear one more thing about a sport.
You have a go-to Pandora station?
Not really.
No? Okay. What are your hobbies? Pickleball?
I was a pickleball for a while. We haven't been playing much.
Jeez. I heard a new facility in Chenango has a pickleball.
Well, the pickleball isn't bouncing right on it. It's like a big controversy.
Oh, boy.
My dad is not happy.
Those Wildcats are fuming.
My dad is not happy. My son's first year at T-ball, we had his first game last night.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, yeah, he's 4, so that's been really fun.
You coached?
I coached, I'm the head coach.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was the only one to sign up for head coach at Chenango
Wow.
T-ball. They found more to do it, but I was the only one, the sucker that volunteered straight from the net. But it was great. My son I have 2 boys, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. My kids are, my 4-year-old is like obsessed with sports, unlike any other kid I've seen. Like he loves it, loves playing, loves watching. So that, you know, I'm a big Penn State sports fan, even though we stink in football and basketball. I still keep coming back for more.
Yeah.
And that's probably one of my big hobbies. You know, I go to all the football games in the fall and a bunch of basketball games.
Okay. And I got one more. This is kind of off the top of your dome here. What you have any words of wisdom you live by, or any quotes that float around? Like anything Sabelli told you a lot.
One thing I always say, and this is a little weird, but I always say this, that I think like one thing, the important thing that you need to always remember in life is you can't feel sorry for yourself. That's what I think about my football coach. Offensive line coach always used to say that, you know, when you were practicing, you were bad, he'd like, stop feeling sorry for yourself.
Okay.
And I tell people that all the time.
Yeah.
Like, when you start feeling sorry for yourself, it's like everything just seems to spiral down.
Negative feedback.
Yeah. And I'm a big, like, my businesses, I'm a big, like, kind of firm believer of it could get done. Like, too many people think, like, oh, that's too hard. Or like, you know what I mean?
All
like
the negatives of it.
And like, I probably sometimes bite off way more than I can chew.
Yeah.
And like, it causes me a heck of a lot. I got gray hairs on my beard already. But you know, I'm a big believer, like, you know, sometimes just wake up at 5 o'clock and drive to Pittsburgh and pick something up. Like, you don't want to. Like, you know, nobody wants to do that stuff. But like, in business, you kind of just have to. You know? And like, if you want to be successful,
if there's a way.
Yeah. Like, and that's kind of like my biggest thing I tell people. Like, you know, like if you think, just do it. Like, you know, even like, you know, drive, like I said about like, our truck driver was off. I mean, I drove truck for 4 o'clock in the morning for like 6 weeks, you know, like, and I came back and worked, you know, it's all I can do. This is my other work, you know, you don't have a choice sometimes with your business, you know, like, and you know how
you need a solution.
You have to do it. And that's what I tell people all the time. You know, I feel like sometimes, like, even sometimes like, some people I do business with, they'll be like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, I don't say it, but I'm thinking like, listen, you just got to do it. Like, you know, like,
don't talk about it.
Like,
about it.
Even like my card business, a lot of times, you know, I try to really emphasize like, if I screwed up and I forgot to ship something on Monday, and like they're like, "Hey, did you ship that?" Like, I overnighted on Tuesday. It cost me $30, but like, you know, people remember that. You know what I mean? Like, and like, I've done so much stuff with the business where like I'm sitting there sometimes I'm like, man, why'd I do that? Like, is that worth it? I lost money on this, I did this on this, but you know, people remember that kind of stuff, you know? And it's good for your business and it's good overall.
Yeah, for sure. It keeps those people coming back.
We talked a lot longer than we'd said we were going.
30 minutes. We're at 39 right now. All right, that's going to be it. So thanks for coming on.
Yes.
This is the Hustle All Day podcast, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All day, grinding every way. It don't stop. Yeah, I gotta hustle, gotta grind all day. It's electric on my mind always. Little resistance help you find